Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 4 of the Princess Skywalker Lowdown. I am Jessie B, aka Princess Skywalker, and as you can see, we've got a very eccentric, very odd man doing some very strange things on my screen over here. We have got the ever controversial, ever unliked DJ Storms on hand here. TJ was supposed to be here, but he is not here yet. So go ahead, do your thing, introduce yourself.
Well, thank you very much, Miss Tiny Tattooed Lady. I greatly appreciate you giving me the opportunity to introduce myself. Now, for those of you that do not know who I am, just give me 1 second. I just gotta take a nice sip of my ice water right here. Me. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm the one and only DJ Storms, and I would like to welcome each and every single one of you to episode number 4 of the Princess Skywalker Lowdown Show, as we are streaming live on youtube.com. Trust me, we'll get into the comb a little bit later. But as of course, you already know who I am, Mr. Controversy, and the operator of the Best Damn X, formerly known as Twitter, handle known to mankind. And before I hand it back over to the tiny tattooed lady over here, I just want everyone to stop what they're doing. Just stop what you're doing, and I want you to take a nice big inhale. You can inhale with me. Trust me, you're going to feel so much better after this, and I just want you to go, oh, so nice. You got to do it twice. Please, if you can, just do it one more time. Trust me, it will give you an incomparable energy. Just do it with me, and I want you to go, oh. You got to hit the hat trick. Listen, you did it once. You did it twice. You got to hit the hat trick. Trust me, you are going to love it.
I said 80%.
Shit. Do you smell that? Please. I know that there's a oh so particular scent in the air, and I know that there's a lot of people that know.
Arrogance.
No. That is incorrect, you ignoramus. What is that scent? What is it?
Arrogance.
What is it?
Arrogance.
No, you are wrongo. It's the scent of pure motherfucking excellence.
Lord have mercy.
You'll get it right one day.
Lord have mercy. What did I get myself into having you on my show?
It's the greatest time of your life. Are you ready for a good time?
Yeah, I just got a weird text though. Hold on. It's like from a foreign country.
What?
I don't know. It says 234-816. It's I don't know. It's junk.
I'm over here doing the intro, and then all of a sudden I hear you say, oh yeah, I got this weird text from a foreign country. Only on the Skywalker Lowdown Show, people. Only on the Skywalker Lowdown Show.
Like, what the fuck?
Oh, here we go. We got a dog. Who's that?
It's Tank. He always has to come make his cameo appearance every single week. He's got to come in and show his little face.
I mean,
come here, Dingus.
Come
here, Dingus.
He wants.
There's Dingus number 1. There's DJs. There's Dingus number 1 and Dingus number 2. All right, everybody. All right, so here we are. Like I said, we are in episode 4. TJ is supposed to be here, but he's not. So it's just going to be me and Mr. Storms kicking it off, going over everything. We'll see if TJ shows up. Anyways, so we are going to have a show tonight that's going to be about Raw and SmackDown first. We're going to go over it. Oh, Jesus Christ. This child I've got here.
Again.
We're gonna go over Raw and SmackDown, and then we're gonna go over all the AEW shows and do some Dynasty predictions. Um, it's gonna be a little bit of an odd show today. I do have to preface everybody, I have been unmedicated for about 5 days, so I'm a little off. Um, as I've said before, mental health is a thing that we will talk about from time to time on this show. I am bipolar. I've got severe anxiety and depression. I also have really bad ADHD, and I unmedicated myself for 5 days like a dumbass. So I'm a little off. Um, my notes for this week's wrestling are a little shitty, so we will just go with the flow. I'm sure Storms has plenty to make up the difference to help me out here. So we'll be good. Like I said, huge mental health advocate. Will never hide it. Will never not be honest about it. So that's what you get today. I have taken my meds recently, so I'm getting back on track, but I'm still a little off. Let me turn this way a little bit. All right, there we go. So let's actually start with SmackDown from last week, since that's the first WWE show that we had since my last show. So Cody opened up the show, talked about the 6 men that were going to be in the matches for the number 1 contender. There was going to be 2 different triple threat matches. One of them was Escobar, Lashley, and LA Knight. The other one was Kevin Owens, Rey Mysterio Jr., and AJ Styles. So Cody just came out, did a spiel. Not sure what they're doing with Cody right now. It seems like he's just coming out and doing a lot of talking, but there's not a lot of setup for much at this point. So the first match that we got was the first triple threat match between Escobar, Bobby Lashley, and LA Knight, which was a pretty decent match for what it was. Lots of all over the place. The LWO did get involved in it because it was a triple threat match. There was no disqualifications. So the LWO, of course, got in the middle of it. But they didn't. That brought out the Street Profits. So the Street Profits came out, got what are they? El Legado Fantasma? Is that what they're
Yes,
called?
Legado del Fantasma. That's what they're called.
Legado del Fantasma.
It's Santos, Angel, Garza, and Humberto Carrillo, and then you got Electro Lopez in there.
Okay. So LA Knight wins that match. So he's the first one to be set up for the number 1 contenders match, which he should have been in some sort of title picture from the beginning over the last few weeks and not in a silly feud with AJ Styles. So it's good to see him in a title picture. Whether it should be the the heavyweight championship or whatever they're fucking calling it now.
It's
the Universal,
undisputed WWE Championship, I think.
Undisputed. Okay, WWE Championship. He should have been in that position long ago. They kind of let his sizzle go out, and then now they're trying to bring it back again because he's hot. I mean, not looks wise, but he's hot with the crowd. He's got a good following. People respond to him really well. People like him. So,
I mean, I've been stating for a while, actually, that LA Knight, he should have already been the United States champion well before 2024. If you have been paying attention to me, and I know that there's a lot of people that have, I have advocated since the summer of last year for LA Knight to be the guy to take the title off of Austin Theory when Austin Theory was the United States champion, but instead they had him win some worthless Slim Jim Battle Royale. They didn't need to have Rey Mysterio win the title. They didn't need to have Logan Paul win the title, although Logan Paul is doing some great shit, I will say that. I'm not going to come on here and discredit what Logan Paul's been doing. But at the end of the day, LA Knight here, I'm glad that they're trying to bring back some momentum that he lost after he was defeated by Roman. But the problem is that LA Knight should not be fighting for the WWE Championship now because Cody Rhodes realistically is not losing. So now they booked a WrestleMania rematch next week in which Styles is probably going to win, and we're going to get 50-50 booking. And realistically, if you want me to be quite honest with you, none of the 6 guys that were involved in the triple threat matches on SmackDown even deserve to be in the ring with Cody. Though I will say this, SmackDown was probably the best show of the week last week. That much I will say. But, if you take a look at how Cody's been portrayed, then you take a look at how Roman's been portrayed, then you look at everybody else. I mean, who is on Cody's level right now? The biggest problem with WWE is the fact that they do not build up anyone else to feud with the top guys that they decide to invest all of their time, money, and effort in. And that's very, very damaging to the future of the company. So I'm really hoping that at least a little bit, just a little bit, they will start putting more effort into the people that are not named Rhea Ripley, Roman Reigns, Cody Rhodes, Becky Lynch, and other people like that, because you need a roster full of credible people.
It's time to spread the love. They've had the spotlight for long enough. It's time to spread it out a little bit further and, give other people some opportunities. Sorry, my large ass cup. I have to tell you, though, I bought this cup. It was $26. I digress for a second, but I have to talk about my cup. So we went to Buc-ee's, right? My kids My kids make me take them to Buc-ee's on Saturday. So we freaking get there. It's busier than shit, right? Super busy. You get there, neither one of these little assholes want to go in because it's so fucking busy. So I dragged them inside and I spent like $70 in there, but I bought this cup, right? This fucking cup is the best damn cup I have ever owned. I had ice in here and water for 24 hours and still had ice in here and never had refilled it. It was freaking insane. This cup is amazing. I love it. Best $25 I've ever spent.
Yeah, I kind of got a fancy cup too. Like for those of you that do not know, I'm actually in my uncle's house right now. I'm behind the bar. If you could see the wine rack right there, which is kind of ironic because I'm straight edge. But I got this EY cup. I got this EY mug, and I've pretty much been using this for as long as I can remember. I think I've been using this since like I want to say 2020, because 2020 is when I really started to record all my content over here a little bit more consistently. And ever since then, I can't even remember the last time that I recorded anything over at my own home in my own room. That's pretty much me peeling back the curtain a little bit.
Yeah, I'm just in my living room right now.
My dad actually told me to start using the bar setup because originally I was at a table which is right over to my left, and you could see a flat screen and an electronic fireplace in the background. But I don't know. I like this bar setup, so I'm thinking about going with the bar setup going forward. Because I don't just set the bar.
All right. Next thing that happened on SmackDown was when Heyman, Sikoa, and Jimmy came out. Heyman starts talking about how the bloodline lost and Cody is the new champ. Hey, Paul, if you're going to be a dick, don't bother watching.
Don't worry. Listen, more views for you and more notoriety for me, because guess what? Paul Roper or Roper, whatever the hell he's going by, you can't fucking hold a candle to what I can do. You a worthless piece of shit.
Anyways, so we have Heyman come out talking about how losing has consequences. And all of a sudden, Sikoa grabs the mic, reverts to the loser or to the losers have consequences. And then all of a sudden, Tama Tonga, is that how I say it? Tama Tonga?
Yes, Tama Tonga.
Tama Tonga shows up, attacks Jimmy. They put a chair around his neck and he gets a hip strike in the corner. All this time, Heyman is screaming.
I think he's screaming like this isn't what the tribal chief would want, if I'm not
right.
mistaken.
This isn't what the tribal chief would want. And then end scene. So that was interesting. So it's interesting to see what's going on.
So what I'm thinking here is, and I think a lot of people are kind of they're kind of looking down the barrel of this. First off, I said this on my show last Saturday. Plain and simple, Tama Tonga, he has single-handedly made the Bloodline storyline interesting again. And surprise, surprise, all it took was Roman losing the championship and a new member of the family being introduced. Now there is multiple avenues in which they can go. We could possibly see Solo Sikoa versus Roman. We could potentially see Jacob Fatu, who is believed to have signed with the WWE, insert himself into the fray, which is great. I mean, he's called the Samoan werewolf for a reason. He's a fucking beast, right? We could potentially be looking down the barrel of Roman versus Rock. I'm not sure how Rock's going to insert himself into this, but maybe Rock gave the orders for Solo Sikoa to kind of take over the duty as the tribal chief, and then we could potentially be looking down the barrel of a War Games match. Because realistically speaking, what feud between what factions this year has called for a War Games match? There really hasn't been anything. But if we're looking down the barrel of a bloodline civil war, and I mean a legit bloodline civil war, not the bullshit that we got last summer, which was completely fucking worthless if you want to look back on it. If we get a legit bloodline civil war, this right here could bring some genuine intrigue to SmackDown, so I am very much looking forward to seeing what the future holds now. Solo Sikoa as the new tribal chief, that is a brilliant role for him, especially considering how badly he's been booked ever since he beat John Cena at Crown Jewel. Ever since that victory.
Yeah, he's been on the losing streak since then.
34-match losing streak. It was ridiculous.
Yeah. So, anyways. So it'll be interesting to see where that goes. Then Braun Breaker came out and crushed Cameron Grimes. I haven't seen Cameron Grimes in forever. Deserves much better and ends up just getting crushed. Man, you are not liked.
I know. That's good. It's good because guess what? Hate is just love disguised as jealousy.
That's okay. They're coming to watch me to hate on you. So I guess it's not that bad.
Because I blocked them all on my channel. So now they have to come to another channel just to hate on me. But they're indirectly giving you fucking views.
That's okay. I'll take it.
I know. That's how fucking retarded these people are.
All right. Next thing that happened is Bayley came out. She was going to name her opponent, and Tiffany Stratton interrupted her. I'm sorry, but Tiffany Stratton is fucking annoying. She is fucking annoying. That goddamn
promo. Here's the thing. I am a major advocate for Tiffany Stratton because of how much she has improved in the ring. And I'm not sure whether or not she's legitimately that bad on the mic or it's just her character because she's realistically speaking, she's a mean girl turned pro wrestler. Lindsay Lohan in pro wrestling form. But holy shit, whenever she talks on the microphone, I do not know what it is, but it's like fucking fingernails scraping on a chalkboard.
That's how I feel when she talks.
It doesn't resonate well. And I love Tiffany Stratton. She's great. But holy shit, she cannot cut a promo.
She can bang in the ring, but fuck, she's annoying when she talks.
Yeah. And she put on a solid match with Naomi. She put on
exactly what I was getting into is, Bayley said she was actually going to call out Naomi in the process. Let's see. So Tiffany versus Naomi was a very good match. The winner was Naomi out of the match. She is going on to be the #1 contender for Bayley's title. That was a very interesting way to find a #1 contender. They just kind of threw it together. There was really nothing or substance.
That's really why WWE needs a ranking system. That what they need to do, because here's the thing. WWE almost has everything right. Because they got a nice set of structure to their shows, right? Then they got great promotion and marketing skills, which is why they're selling out a lot of their arenas, because all they do is market the shit out of these shows. But in terms of the week to week storylines, there are some good storylines. I'm not going to say that there's not, but in the end, what they need to do is they need to start basing people getting title matches off of wins and losses. If you got one segment, right, with Heyman and Solo saying wins and losses matter, and then you got Naomi, who realistically has won all but, 2-3 matches since she's been back, and now all of a sudden she's getting a women's championship title opportunity, especially after Tiffany beat her. And then you get a 50-50 booking scenario. It just does not come off well.
Yeah. It was interesting. The next match we had was Chelsea Green was in the back being Chelsea Green.
I hate her. I really
demanding a match. She's fucking annoying. She's super annoying.
Not the good kind.
No, she's just like fingernails on a fucking chalkboard annoying.
It's a shame because her husband is doing great fucking work.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So we had Piper and Chelsea versus Jade and Bianca, which we already knew Jade and Bianca were going to win because they're not going to let Jade lose. They're going to book her just like they booked her in AEW, which she only did 3 moves again. So
she ain't nothing but an entrance.
Yeah. I know she's supposed to be annoying, but I still think she's annoying.
Slam pigs. Listen, there's a difference between legit heel heat and go away heat. Chelsea Green is borderline go away heat right now, and you do not want that reaction.
I just want to change the channel. I just want to change the fucking channel and take them
That's not good heat. That right there is detrimental to your wrestling persona.
Yeah. And then we had the Kevin Owens, Rey Mysterio Jr. versus AJ Styles, which we had AJ Styles winning that one. And it'll be AJ Styles versus LA Knight to determine the number 1 contender this week on SmackDown. So
great match. Great match, I will say. It
was a good match. It was entertaining. It kept me entertained. Like I said, my notes this week suck. So
I got plenty of notes, don't worry. By the way, that Styles clash from the middle rope, even though we've seen that shit before, it's still very, very nice to see that move getting pulled off because it should be looked at as such an effective move, but Styles clash really hasn't finished off many people nowadays. But whenever a middle rope Styles clash gets broken out, it's always a nice thing to see.
Mm-hmm. I've never been an AJ Styles fan. So okay, then bye-bye.
Oh my God. I'm telling you, I am going to get you legitimately the most views that you've ever seen on any fucking
right, just because people fucking hate your ass.
No, it's not people. It's literally the same person creating 15 different accounts. Actually, that's being generous. 50 different accounts.
That's fun.
Bring on the views, motherfucker. Guess what? You cannot touch me. I am absolutely fucking impenetrable.
I said 80%.
That's not
80%. 80%.
Not possible.
All right. Now we'll get into Raw. My show, bitch, not yours.
No.
Calm your ass down.
I'm telling you, this is the shit I live for.
Calm yourself. All right, so we'll get into Raw. Raw opens with Rhea Ripley having to relinquish the title. So that was definitely interesting to see. It must be a pretty legit injury. Now, do we know for sure if it happened at WrestleMania or if it happened at when Liv did her thing?
It happened during the Liv Morgan angle. And if I'm going to be quite honest with you, she's only supposed to be out for like 3 months. And realistically speaking, I mean, how long did Roman go without defending the championship? What, like 4.5 months? So realistically
Yeah.
speaking, she could still keep the championship as long as she doesn't re-aggravate the injury. Seth Rollins kept his world heavyweight title going into WrestleMania. But then again, what the fuck do I know? I know a hell of a lot more than most. But yeah, it happened during the attack by Liv Morgan. I'm not even going to sit here and blame anyone. I'm not going to say to blame anyone. It was a freak accident. It realistically should have never happened. And you want to know what sucks the most? What sucks the most about this is the fact that Rhea Ripley's title reign was just starting to get good. Because from April to December of last year, her title reign fucking sucked. And that's
It's
not
been
her fault.
boring to me the whole time.
You take a look at what she was doing between April and December, and they weren't giving her anything to work with because the women's division was not presented as important. But then in came 2024, right? And she had a great match with Ivy Nile on Raw back in January. Then she main evented the Elimination Chamber against Nia Jax, right? And then she had that great match at WrestleMania against Becky Lynch. And I'm thinking to myself, all right, finally, it looks like they're going to put some more effort into her title reign, and then this injury happens.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, and that sucks, but it does like Isaiah was saying, she's gonna go get married to Buddy during this time too. So, um,
I mean, how long would she have been off if she didn't get injured? What, like 3 weeks?
who knows? We don't know what they're doing with for their wedding, and they could be going back to Australia too. So it could be a whole
Hmm.
thing. Because isn't he from Australia too?
Yes, he is.
Yeah. So they could be going back home to do it. So they might need a little bit more time. Um, So then Liv Morgan comes out. She starts laughing. She just comes out laughing hysterically. They try and keep them apart. So that is definitely going to set something up for down the line between those two when she comes back.
Liv Morgan's going to have to go heel because I'm telling you, with the way that Rhea Ripley's been just so beloved, it's going to be very, very hard to envision
Mhm.
her coming back as a heel because at this very moment, no one, and I mean nobody, wants to boo Rhea Ripley.
Yeah, everybody loves her. Um, then Sheamus returned and they put him up against Ivar. Of course, Sheamus was going to win his debut match
Voila.
back. Um, he definitely seemed excited to be back. Definitely with attacking Pat McAfee and Michael Cole after the match, going over and hugging those
He
two.
looks
So
good. He looks good.
he looks good. He's still white as snow. My son used to call him the human jar of mayo
and
because of how white he
Sheamus,
is.
he's still hitting hard, and
Yeah,
that's it's good to see him, even though he was said to have been out with spinal stenosis for pretty much the rest of his life. But holy shit, he is back better than ever. And at what, like 43, 44, he is still
yeah,
going strong.
looks good. Um, Triple H and Adam Pearce came out, say that it's time for new belts for the tag team. So R-Truth and The Miz come out, which honestly, they shouldn't be a tag team. I agree with you in that they shouldn't be champions. However, R-Truth having his moment, that was everything. And that made me tear up at WrestleMania when he had his moment. I fucking love R-Truth. He's fantastic. You're not allowed to say anything bad about him on my show.
Well,
So,
I'm going to say it anyway.
but I do have to say that those belts are fucking hideous. I will say that much. Those new belts are fucking hideous. I would have rather had those other belts that they had on them, the silver ones, than these god awful ugly ones, because these ones that they've got now are absolutely ugly.
I don't think those circular title belts really work as well as they should. I really think that they could have gone with a little bit more of a boxed based main plate. I mean, listen, it's not as bad as some of the previous belts. That much I will say. Not as bad as some of the previous belts that we've seen, but it didn't really resonate with anyone as coming off as important because the Awesome Truth, let's be honest here, Awesome Truth are a fucking joke. And I realistically don't care if our truth has never gone to WrestleMania moment. We have bigger priorities on WWE than giving a 50-year-old our truth and a 45, 46-year-old Miz WrestleMania moments when in reality you got a whole
Miz isn't
truth.
fucking 46 years old. Are you out of your goddamn mind?
He's in his 40s. Let me look it up. Let me look this shit up. Quiet, let me look this shit up. 43, excuse me. So he's in his 40s.
I was gonna say he's not that much fucking older than I am.
43. Either way, he's in his 40s. He's going into his mid 40s. And even though he can still wrestle, Miz has already had his moments in the sun. You got a whole slew of younger tag teams like DIY and the Creed brothers. Hell, I'm even going to throw in Austin Theory and Grayson Waller, and they shouldn't have even won the tag team titles, even though I think they're great. But they shouldn't have even won the tag team titles at WrestleMania. But I would have preferred them over the Awesome Truth. So if we're not getting those titles off Awesome Truth next week, we got a fucking problem.
DIY is the number one contenders. So they could have just been wanting to give R-Truth his moment, let him have it, and then go from there. So I will agree to disagree with you on that because I adore R-Truth. I think he should be protected like gold. I love that man. Liv Morgan does a promo, says she's not done with her revenge tour. She's still got more. I wasn't really paying attention, so I started to lose interest. Cody Rhodes comes out again, talks about Seth, says thank you to Seth Rollins for being his shield. Says he thinks he has The Rock, has more matches left him. The Rock said he'll make him bleed again. Cody says if he bleeds, The Rock bleeds with him. And then he introduces Jey Uso. So they're definitely not done with The Rock and Cody. The Rock and Cody is definitely going to be a thing.
I hope to God they don't do that Mania next year.
A long build-up for something that isn't very interesting. Well, at least in my opinion, it wouldn't be interesting. So,
well, do you know why they're doing it, right?
Because he's the boss.
No, well, yeah, but no, that's not why they're doing it. The reason why they're doing it, and I talked about this, the reason is because legitimately, who else is there to feud with Cody and make it somewhat exciting outside of Orton and Punk? Because here's the thing. I love AJ. I love AJ Styles. AJ Styles is exactly what he says he is. He is phenomenal. He's one of the greatest of our generation. But realistically speaking, how many of you actually care? And I'm talking to the people in the chat too. How many of you actually care about AJ Styles versus Cody Rhodes? I'm going to go out on record and I'm going to say little to nobody because WWE has not built up AJ Styles as a credible threat. So realistically speaking, the only three individuals that can stand next to Cody and make it somewhat intriguing and unpredictable is Orton, Punk, and Rock. It's sad, but that's the truth.
It is. So we had Jey versus Finn Balor. That was a really good match. Jey Uso won that one. Then the Judgment Day comes out, but it didn't seem like Damian Priest was on the same page with attacking Jey. Jey escapes through the crowd. And then we had the Sami Zayn versus Chad Gable match. That was a good match. Sami Zayn wins that one and then Gable attacks him right in front of his family. So it looks like they're finally turning Gable heel. So
they
good
pretty
for
much
that.
had no choice. They had to.
Yeah.
It only made sense. But I will say this. Based on what happened in the main event of Raw, Sami's going to do that title good. I know that not many people were too keen on having Sammy win, and to be quite honest with you, I would have given it to Chad Gable. I don't know where Chad Gable goes, but I will say this, that heel turn was executed very, very well. I don't know why. I just have a soft spot for someone that attacks someone right in front of their family when it comes to pro wrestling. You know, it's just from
Yeah.
one asshole to the other assholes of the WWE. Please attack people in front of their families more often. It brings great joy to my heart. What else you got? Come on, details.
All right, let's get into Dynamite.
We doing
Switch
a little
over to
preview?
AEW. We've got about 25 minutes left. I can only go for an hour today because I've got to get to the gym tonight. So let's quickly get through all the AEW programming and then get to Dynasty predictions. So we had Samoa attacked by Swerve before his match with Dustin Rhodes to start the beginning of the show. It was uncertain if Joe was going to be able to wrestle in the evening. So they kind of pulled an audible, and Copeland versus Penta came up. That was a really, really good match. I loved seeing that. I love watching Penta in the ring. Anything that Penta does is just absolutely amazing. He's fucking phenomenal. That guy can bang. Copeland can still go, and he kept up really well with Penta, considering Penta is such a fast-paced wrestler, which isn't exactly something that Copeland is. So he kept up with the pace really, really well. Copeland won that match, and then the lights go out. He's distracted by Julia Hart, and then he's attacked by Brody King.
Mm-hmm.
So the fact that Willow Nightingale came out to save Adam Copeland was really strange to me. I get that Julia and her are in a match, but her and Cope have absolutely no fucking ties to each other. So it was definitely interesting to see.
I'm guessing that they wanted to do like a little bit of a double sell. So they're trying to sell 2 pay-per-view matches in one.
Yeah.
By the way, I do want to say something about Copeland. You know something? Copeland is at a point in his life and career in which he has nothing to prove, right? But yet he still goes out there and he's still doing new shit. He's doing head scissors and power slams on the apron and leapfrogs. He is going out there and he is trying to match what his opponent is doing. He's going out there and he's still evolving in the ring. That is the type of individual that every professional wrestling promoter should strive to want on their roster, because an individual like that, an individual that loves what he's doing, he's passionate about his work, and he constantly wants to evolve and get better with what he does, that right there is an individual that's ultimately going to make your company better.
Mm-hmm. So that was a good one. So that set up the tag team match between Brody King and Julia Hart versus Willow Nightingale and Adam Copeland this week on Dynamite. Then we cut to the Young Bucks. This is what I wanted to get to. Fucking Phil. So, fucking Phil. Anyways, they played the footage, and that footage, even though it doesn't have any sound, clearly fucking shows that fucking Phil was the instigator. Now, it doesn't matter what Jungle Boy said to him. It doesn't fucking matter what Jack Perry said to him. It still didn't warrant what happened. You don't fucking punch your coworkers. You don't do it. If you're a fucking grown-up, you don't punch your fucking coworkers. And he didn't even do a good job at it. He didn't even, do a good job trying to fucking choke him out. He did it so piss fucking poor. It's just fucking ridiculous.
Now, I've talked about this before, and listen, what was done and what was said regarding Punk's appearance on the MMA Hour with Ariel Helwani, and then you got the all-in footage being released. everything that was said and done, it's really nothing that hasn't really already been made public knowledge. Now, the one thing that I was focused on is if they weaved it into the storyline, which they did.
Which they
However, I'm going to go on record and I'm going to say this really wasn't all that necessary. It really wasn't all that necessary, realistically speaking, because they should have been able to generate some heat between the Bucks and FTR without the use of that. Now, if they would have released this back in September, I think that would have made a bit more sense. But going forward, I don't think that I would have them do anything like this again, just because of the simple fact that not only that, but they gave the mindless inbreds of the community, and that's my favorite phrase right there, mindless inbreds, because there's a lot of them out there. They gave the mindless inbreds of the IWC pretty much more ammunition to go out there and unnecessarily shit on AEW, even though they haven't been doing their best in the last couple weeks. They're giving them more ammunition that they don't really need. So here's what I will say. Everything that was done, again, nothing that hasn't already been made public knowledge. We already knew that Phil was the instigator, but there was no one that was the innocent party regarding anything that happened, even though they weaved it into the storyline, which I'm glad that they did, and they at least tried to make sense of it. I don't think that it was necessary. It wasn't really needed in the grand scheme of things, and going forward, I don't think that they should do anything like that again.
Well, it was just it was clearly a clap back to what happened in the interview. But they turned it into storyline, which I'm glad they at least turned it into storyline.
Yeah.
And they didn't just leave it as a total clap back.
Yeah. Because Copeland's promo the other week, like, that was completely unnecessary. Now, he spoke a lot of truth in that promo, but it was completely unnecessary because he didn't build towards his match with the House of Black at Dynasty, because you got a big match, which is probably going to lead to another big match with Malachi and Copeland, and he's not even talking about that.
But it's not always about that. Sometimes you got to take a break from the promoting and from everything and just fucking be real from time to time.
I know that, but you can do that when you're not in a major program. Copeland's in a major program right now, and I don't think you can afford to take a break, especially when you got a new pay-per-view and you're trying to sell this new pay-per-view to make it feel important.
I liked Copeland's promo. I liked it. I thought it was great. So
it wasn't a bad promo. It wasn't a bad promo, but I'm not going to sit here and say that it was necessary. It wasn't.
Well, this next match wasn't fucking necessary at all. And it was the Hook Jericho Shibata versus STP, where Jericho just made himself look like a fucking tool in the entire match. So that match wasn't fucking necessary. It's just setting up more shit between Hook and Jericho that nobody gives a flying fuck about.
I know what they're doing. I know what they're doing, and I do appreciate that. They're doing the right thing and they're turning Jericho heel because he's a much better heel than he is a babyface. I don't mind what they're doing with Hook simply because of the fact that where is Hook going to go right now? There's really nowhere that he's going to fit into because all the title pictures seem to be occupied. So I don't mind what they're doing. The problem is that Hook, he was able to get some heat behind him this year. Jericho doesn't have any heat behind him simply because of the fact that it's not that he's not good, because he's been putting on some damn good matches this year. He could still go. But with the fact that Jericho has not been a very good babyface, combined with the fact that he feels like he's done everything there is to do in the business, he just kind of feels there. So in the end, I'm hoping that they do give us some substance with Jericho finally turning heel. Supposedly, he filed for some new trademarks. He filed for some trademarks called the Learning Tree or the Lessons of Jericho, some shit like that. So I'm assuming that we're going to get some entertaining shit when he does turn heel. But yeah, this match did not have the energy that it really should have had.
Yeah, absolutely. Then we had the Ospreay promo where he cut on Triple H, which that was fucking fantastic. That was hilarious.
Man, Ospreay.
There was an Okada squash match. Pac showed up.
Hold on a minute. Hold on. I'm sorry. Can I just say one thing? I need to point this out to all the fucking idiots out there that are trying to defend
What did I tell you about calling people fucking idiots on my show?
I'm talking about the general public. I'm talking about the general public.
I'm not talking about anyone. I told you before this fucking show started not to come on here and call people fucking idiots.
I'm not talking about anyone in the chat. Just listen.
I don't give a shit. I told you not to come on here calling people fucking idiots.
Just listen. The people of the IWC, there was a hefty group of people in the IWC that were trying to defend Triple H, and they were saying, well, Triple H didn't mention him by name. He was just speaking in general. Who the fuck was Triple H talking about? Action Andretti? Rocky Romero? Lee Moriarty? Now, to be clear, all those guys are great. Of course he was talking about Will Ospreay. I mean, let me tell you something. If Ospreay signed with WWE, that promo would have never fucking happened. In addition to that, Ospreay's been grinding in Japan, in a nation that isn't even the nation that he was born in for God knows how many years. So please, spare me the bullshit. I just needed to get that off my chest.
Could have saved it for your show on Thursday. Anyways, Okada has a squash match. Pac shows up. He gets attacked by the Bucks. FTR comes out. They get leveled by chairs. And they're left laying. We had May versus Mariah May versus Anna Jay, which was a really good match. Mariah May won that match. Then Anna kind of flipped out, went a little crazy.
It didn't really come off as good as it really should have to me. If anything, I don't really want to say that it was kind of overexposing Mariah May, even though I love Mariah May, but I think that you could have fit something else on the show. I think you could have fit something a little bit more important on the show, something with a little bit more conviction and energy. But again, that's just me. Even though I think that both women are very good, it just didn't come off as necessary.
Yeah. Then we had the Samoa Joe versus Dustin Rhodes match, which was an okay match, I guess. Swerve attacks him at the end, hits him with the chain, holds up the belt. Samoa Joe looks all pissed off, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, it really was nothing more than a setup match. Let's be honest here. Dustin Rhodes was merely used as a punching bag for Samoa Joe, so that way we can get Swerve Strickland in there. This wasn't the worst show I've ever seen, but if you want to talk about energy, if you want to talk about a sense of urgency, when you compare it to the shows that they were putting on in March, this Dynamite clearly did not have that same energy and that same sense of urgency that the shows had coming out of Revolution in March, which was kind of disappointing if you ask me. I feel like they're just in cruise control because the pay-per-view is already fleshed out. You got 8 matches, right? 8 matches already set up for the pay-per-view, and it looks great. And it seems as though they're just like, we're just coasting and cruising into the pay-per-view. We don't really need to put too much effort into our shows. And I don't like that.
Yeah. Well, Rampage was
another one.
I only wrote down the matches. I didn't really pay much attention to it. Orange Cassidy defeated Alex Reynolds. I was hoping to hear more from Orange Cassidy on the Trent situation. But that's still pending. Hart versus Hirsch. Julia Hart won that one easily. Angelo Parker versus Zach Knight. Zach Knight surprisingly won that one.
Zach Knight was the highlight of the show for me. Not even bullshitting you. Zach Knight's a fucking beast.
Yeah, he's decent in the ring. It's nice to actually see him getting his flowers for a change, getting his moment in the sun. That was Tank.
I know.
Then we had Jay Wright versus Matt Sydal. Jay White won that one.
It just didn't have any energy.
I fell asleep during that match, so I don't really know what happened because I passed out.
It's pretty shameful because, at the start of the year and coming out of Revolution a little bit, Rampage was actually putting on some decent shows. I'm not saying that it was the best shows I've ever seen, but they actually had some solid shows coming out of Revolution. And, similar to Dynamite, it seems as though Rampage just went back to an enhancement show. It's just pretty much used to pad other people's records. And again, it just doesn't come off well.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, Slam Pigs Podcast has a question.
What are your guys' thoughts? He's speaking a foreign language to me. I don't know what he's talking about.
I can answer that. If you want me to be quite honest with you, I don't know if they are going to be able to compete with Stardom, because Stardom has they have the advantage on them in terms of how long that they've been around. But as far as them being partnered up with WWE, I'm guessing that it's probably going to turn into something along the lines of an NXT Japan. Either way, WWE is definitely going to use Ogawa as an individual to recruit new female athletes into NXT. They already got Julia, which I'm excited to see. I'm very, very interested to see what she's going to do. And I do have some reports regarding Julia. We'll talk about that on the LFU on Saturday. But I don't think that it's going to be on the same level as a Stardom. And I think that WWE is just going to use that as a feeding ground for female Japanese wrestlers.
All right. See, I know nothing about it, so I didn't know how to answer that one. Let's see. We had the Collision. We had the House of Black versus Dante Martin, Andretti, and Seidel, and the House of Black won that. We had Moriarty versus Shibata, which was a very good match. Very good match. But Taylor came out and attacked Shibata after his victory, and Hook came out to save him. Angelico versus Daniel Garcia, the dancers versus each other. Now, I miss Angelico, his old music. I want the old music back. I don't like the new music. His dance went so much better with the old music. I want him to have his old music back because I actually fucking loved that goddamn music. But Garcia won that match.
Garcia's theme song. That theme song is great.
It is good. It is good, but I loved Angelico's old song. I fucking loved it. It was fantastic. We had Tony Storm versus AZM, and Tony Storm won that one. BCC versus the Callis family. Yeah. BCC versus the Callis family. BCC won that one. Battle of the Belts. Hook beat Shane Taylor. Roderick Strong beat Rocky Romero, and Athena beat Red Velvet.
Athena is an absolute stud of a woman, and Athena needs to be on AEW TV full-time sooner rather than later. I don't know who the fuck they're going to have beat her, but I'm telling you, I honestly believe that her beating Sheeta back at Supercard of Honor, that was a mistake, and Sheeta should have won that match. We need to get Athena on Dynamite, Collision, and Rampage full-time. She has seen her day as Ring of Honor Women's World Champion. Even though she's pretty much the female tribal chief over there, we need to get her away from Ring of Honor. She is above Ring of Honor at this point in time.
Yeah. All right, some Dynasty predictions now. We're going to go through these relatively quickly just because I got to go to the gym.
We'll go more in depth on them on my show
Thursday.
Yeah.
We've got Pac versus Okada for the Continental Crown. I am going with Okada on this one. I don't think they're going to make him lose. They're not making him lose yet.
No way. They're not going to make Okada lose right now, especially considering that he just won the title. I kind of wish that they would have done Okada's victory at the show, but at the end of the day, they wanted to go with Pac and Okada because that's the better pay-per-view match.
Yeah. Then we got Cope, Kingston, and Briscoe versus the House of Black. I'm hoping the House of Black wins.
Yeah, I got the House of Black winning, and that should set up Copeland versus Malachi for the TNT title, potentially at Double or Nothing.
Yeah. So I even possibly see Malachi taking the pin over Copeland.
I wouldn't say Malachi beats Copeland. I think Malachi will probably take the pin over Kingston.
Buddy. House of Black. Okay. Then we got Julia Hart versus Willow Nightingale. Now, I say in this match, it's actually going to be Willow Nightingale because they're setting it up for her versus Mercedes. So I think that I think she wins the match for the TBS title because they're setting it up with a rematch between her and Mercedes.
Now, realistically, that's probably the best way to go. I just hate the fact that Willow's going to have a 1-month title reign. Now, if it was me, I would probably have Willow and Athena do the same match that they did last year at Death Before Dishonor, and I would actually give Willow the Ring of Honor Women's World Championship over Athena. But unfortunately, I think that they're going to give Willow that 1-month title reign. I can't really see how Willow loses this match. Unless they wanna have Julia go in there and after the 6-month reign that she's had, she could potentially drop that title to Mercedes. I don't like the fact that Mercedes is just being gifted a title match. And she should have already wrestled already.
Yeah. Then we got Roderick Strong versus Kyle O'Reilly. I think Roderick Strong wins because the UK is going to get involved.
Yeah, there's no reason why Roderick Strong is going to lose. The one thing that I hate about this is the fact that this is Roderick Strong's first title defense of his reign, and he's just been competing in eliminator matches. That's really fucking stupid. Now, I will say this. I do believe that Kyle O'Reilly is going to join the Undisputed Kingdom at some point. When Wardlow gets kicked out, O'Reilly's going to be inserted in. So I think Roderick Strong retains here.
Okay. Yep, that's what I think too. I think Will Ospreay is going to take the win over Bryan Danielson.
Yes, absolutely. There's no reason why Bryan's going to win that because at this rate, Bryan doesn't care about winning. Bryan doesn't care about losing. Bryan just cares about going in there and wrestling the best. And in the end, I actually think that he gets a rise out of putting people over more so than he does winning. So yeah, Will Ospreay is going to take this easily.
Absolutely. And I agree with Slam Pigs podcast. Undisputed Kingdom is fucking dead. That's the dumbest storyline. It makes no sense without MJF.
Exactly. Yeah.
It makes no fucking sense without MJF.
It's the same thing with the Bloodline storyline coming out of WrestleMania 38 because the Bloodline was a fucking dead faction, not because they're not great, but because they had no one to bounce their heel heat off of. They didn't have that mega baby face, and then in came Sami Zayn at the time. It's the same thing with the Undisputed Kingdom. They needed that mega baby face. MJF was going to be that mega baby face, but unfortunately he got injured.
Mm-hmm. I think FTR is going to take the tag team titles.
I disagree. I think the Young Bucks. I think the Bucks are taking it with the help of the scapegoat.
That's interesting. I didn't think about that.
Jack Perry, baby. By the way, he was a fucking beast in his match against.
That was fucking amazing. His fucking entrance was fantastic.
Great
I loved
shit.
everything about it. Fuck Phil.
I love that.
Phil.
I love that shit. You want to know who benefited the most from the all-in footage being aired? It was Jack Perry. Jack Perry.
Jack did.
I think Jack's going to turn.
Okay. That's interesting. I'd be interested in that happening. I would love for the Young Bucks to win because I love the Young Bucks, so that doesn't bother me at all. I just thought that they were going to give it to FTR in this situation.
I think FTR are going to be involved with Wardlow and MJF, and we're going to get a blood and guts match with a reunited Pinnacle versus the Undisputed Kingdom. That'll probably happen in July.
I guess we'll see. We got the Thunder Rosa versus Tony Storm. Tony Storm's walking out with it.
Clearly, because at this rate, I do believe if Mercedes is going to be the TBS champion, then Jamie Hayter's probably going to come back, and we're going to get Jamie Hayter and Tony Storm part number 4, and it's going to be at Wembley, and Jamie Hayter is going to get a big title win there.
Yeah, absolutely. And then Swerve Strickland versus Samoa Joe. I'm all for Swerve. Whose house?
Swerve's fucking house, baby. I mean, you got to give it to him. him. There's no better time to give it to him than now. Now, the only problem that I have is the fact that he's not beating Hangman for it, because that was going to be the moment that was going to make Swerve into a bigger star, because if Hangman won the title back at Revolution and then Swerve won it at All In, that would have been a much bigger moment on a much bigger platform. But I mean, you have him here now. You got to give it to Swerve. You have to.
You got to give it to Swerve at this point. Plus, I've always felt like Joe is going to be a transitional champion regardless.
Joe was never supposed to be the champion.
He's not a long-term. Yeah, he's not a long-term champion. So
it was going to be Adam Cole.
That is all I have for tonight. Yeah. Well, that is all I have for tonight. That is the show. Thank you for everybody who tuned in, even if you're just tuning in to be a fucking hater. I appreciate you all being here. Go ahead and follow me on X at Jess Skywalker 10 or Princess Skywalker. Like, subscribe, tweet out the YouTube information. Go follow this goofy ass dancing over here at the History Maker DJS on Twitter. Go follow his YouTube channel. I will actually be on his channel on Thursday. Oh my God, will you stop dancing like that? You look like such an idiot. Jesus Christ. Help me help you.
Let me tell you something. This right
thank
here
you
is
everybody for
gonna
tuning
get
into
you
episode
views.
4. Hey, it got me views, but it got me hate too. So we'll see how it does for my next show. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in tonight. Tank just wanted to come say goodbye. Thank you, DJs, for coming and hanging out with us tonight. I appreciate you all. See you next week. Deuces.